women and the man behind the lens. So Rhea Kapoor, the producer, Bhumi Pednekar, the actor, and Karan Bulani, the director of Thank You for Coming, join me for a conversation, Jagran Film Festival. So the first thing that I want to ask you is that, you know, your movie has released. It released in TIFF, got spectacular responses. We have seen men, women all going gaga. But there is a strange silence from your own people. And लोग बोलेंगे कि ये बाद में बोलना चाहिए, but मुझे इसी से start करनी है because I know how personal the movie is to each one of you, right? Did it hurt you? The feeling of being let down?
No, I don't think so. See, the thing is, first of all, everybody should know that the kind of genre of films I make films for girls. They're called chick flicks. Aisha, Khubsurat, Veere Di Wedding, and now Thank You for Coming. I'm proud of each and every one of them. However, I'm not a critical darling. I'm not like, ye movie Aisha main review ke liye banaungi. You know what I mean? I genuinely make it so that girls and boys go and have a good time. But this film, the kind of critical acclaim that this film got, it anyway overwhelmed me from the beginning. It went past my expectations. The fact that this movie, a movie that I made, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't even have the confidence to put my film into a festival. It was done by Karan and then my dad. He literally just sent it from his personal account, you know. And then for the way that it was received at TIFF, the love that it got, the international critical acclaim that it got. I never thought that any of that stuff was in my destiny because I had accepted that because of the kinds of films I made, most of the time they're going to be dismissed, right? But at least they'll reach the girls and boys that it's meant to reach. And that means more to me than anything else. So if you're asking me if I felt bad, no, honestly, I can't believe how lucky I am to be able to get the ability to make a movie like this. Not many producers, especially female producers, get that ability. And I am not sad because I'm not surprised. Because this has happened to me my entire career. I feel like people are afraid to stand up for things when they feel like it's a new thing. They don't know how it's going to go. Everybody runs after success. But it's very difficult to stand up for what you think is right, especially if it's not the popular choice. You see what I mean? And unfortunately, films helmed by girls and talking about things that have to do with girls are never really the popular choice. And so I've been through this my whole career, and I'm still strong, and I'm going to continue to make it, and I'm not going to let the girls that come to watch my movies down. And I will get stronger with every film, and every one of my films will get better and better.
You know, your films don't just resonate to women. I feel Sushmita Sen recently I interviewed and happened to interview, and I was speaking to her, and she said something so beautiful. She said that everybody has a masculine and a feminine side, whether it's a man or a woman, okay? Some people who are men could also be in touch with their feminine side, which I proudly am. There are many females, women, who are also in touch with their masculine side, and they're proudly who they are. But whenever it's not the usual convention, औरतें ऐसे ही बोलेगी, ऐसे ही बातें करेंगी, ऐसी ही चीज़ों के बारे में, मुद्दे के बारे में फिल्म्स बनाएंगी, लड़के यही करेंगे, लड़के तो रो ही नहीं सकते, लड़के वल्नरेबल कैसे होंगे, तुम तो मर्द हो ही नहीं अगर तुमने चलते फिरते औरत को देख के उसके बॉडी पार्ट के बारे में कुछ कमेंट ना कर दिया. मतलब ये सब भी होता है, okay? And if you guys are not gonna agree, I'm sorry, but you're just lying to yourself. Do you feel that despite हम देवी बना के जिसको पूजते हैं, औरत बना के उसी को गाली देते हैं?
See, I feel definitely as a girl, you're stuck, you know. You are constantly walking this balance. You know, is this attractive enough? Is that too sexy? Is it not sexy enough? Should I become, should I be a total good girl? Oh, but does that make me boring? You know, you don't know what is right. And no matter what you do, there's someone or the other telling you that what you're doing is wrong, or what you're doing is not effective enough, or attractive enough, or any of these different things. So I think that with making these kinds of movies, I want to make sure that I open up the female thought process to not just women, but also men. So
Absolutely.
that they can get an insight into how girls actually think, what makes us tick, what we like, what we don't like. Koi to puchta nahi, to hum batayenge. You know what I mean? And if you really want to know what will make the woman in your life happy, what makes her sad, what affects her, what doesn't affect her. Hopefully, my movies will give you a window into that narrative. And if you're a girl and you feel like nobody understands you, watch the films, watch whatever films that I've made till now, and hopefully you leave the theater feeling a little less alone.
Just adding on to what Rhea said, firstly, hello everyone. Thank you for coming for our session. Thank you for coming for our session. Just adding to what Rhea said, and also the answers actually in your question. When boys make comedies, I've never seen a single person go question, Acha, what's their profession in the film? Why that to unhone ye to nahi bola? They can be doing the exact things that we are doing, and thank you for coming, but there's so much shame that's put onto a narrative that we are leading. Why? Because women can't do these things. Women, we don't have choices. Right? And what does thank you for coming stand for? Thank you for coming speaks against all the shame that women are constantly endured with. Right? If you want to have a child, you don't want to have a child, you want to have a career, you want to get married, not get married, when do you want to get married? It's just non-stop. And no decision is the right decision. You can never ever adhere to what the society wants from you because aap pe shame dala hi jayega. The moment you become a young adult, you're slut shamed. When you grow a little, if supposing you are a successful person, that success also most times is not credited to you because, oh, there must be somebody helping her through this. So there's nothing that is completely yours. Now, if I speak only of our films, and this was one thing that was kind of troubling me because there were so many questions that people asked, right? Oh, this is not feminism just because this girl is like drinking or, she's going out. No, it is because the umbrella of feminism is very, very large. You can't dismiss my problems and my choices because you don't understand them. That's exactly the narrative that men have spun over generations. They have never understood our problems. They have never understood our choices. And yet again, when we've tried to kind of break a stereotype and when we've tried to kind of make a comment, they're like, oh, this is not a real problem. You can't decide if my problems are real or no because you don't go through them. So this is the exact narrative that we have to change. And why should boys have all the fun? I'm sick and tired of it. Do we ever, okay, a film like Hangover, which I love. तब तो किसी ने नहीं बोला क्या कर रहे हैं ये फिल्म में मजाक मस्ती कर रहे हैं रोड ट्रिप पे गए हुए हैं no they are doing but you are convinced of this narrative because there are men leading it और दिल चाहता है जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा again films I love speaking of those films are also layered so is ours. But there's just this preconceived notion that you just see when you watch the trailer. And a lot of it, look, again, I've said this time and again, patriarchy is not a gender-specific thing. Patriarchy is a mindset. It's a choice of how you want to lead your life. और वो औरतों से भी हो सकती है, वो मर्दों से भी हो सकती है. ये film exactly वही smash करती है.
Recently I just spoke to Ratna Pathak Shah, and she said that patriarchy has done more harm to men than women.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I really do.
And being a man, seeing this perspective from a man's lens was so important because, there needed to be some kind of representation. Yeah. And of course, Rhea, when you make films, and there are so many big actors who would otherwise have so many other social causes and they stand up for things. But the representation in films like this, and I'm not just speaking about your films, in any film where the actress plays the female protagonist or the central protagonist is like few and far in between. Let's be honest. There's been only one Dear Zindagi and one Mission Mangal and one Secret Superstar, and I can't remember anything else. So having a male lens to the entire perspective, what was your first reaction when the story came to you? And how do you take the applause, there's applause on one side, and there's not criticism. Unfortunately, criticism hota to samajh mein aata. There's shaming on the other side, you know.
So I wouldn't know what it is like with any other lens because I've never been a woman.
That's true.
But I think as a storyteller, it's important that you empathize with your characters, with with whoever's in your story. You have to see it from if you're doing a crime drama, then you have to do it from the point of view of the cop and the criminal, and both are right from where they come from. You know, and I think if you reach that state where ki pata chal jata hai ki nahi, from his perspective ki ye bhi sahi hai, and from his perspective even this person is right, but there is something else. There is this invisible evil that is making it unequal, this battle. And I think that's what I felt when I started to read the story, talk to the writers, talk with Rhea, that we would always discuss, you know, we would always argue. I mean, we have different points of view, and we would say, no, you don't get it. It's harder for a guy. It's easier for a guy. It's harder for a woman. And I would give her examples where it is harder for a guy to do certain things. And she would say, no, but you know, a guy gets, you know, this happened to a friend of ours. He's inherited a company or something. You always feel it goes to the guy. No, and I'll give her an example where it went to the girl. So it isn't a battle between the sexes as much as it is a way in which we cover up all these evils that each individual man or woman is made to believe. For example, as a girl, I mean, if you take it down to the core of it, when we would discuss it, you're not ever told this, but you're made to, it's common knowledge that you're going to get married one day and leave this home that you live in, where your parents are, where your memories are, where your entire life is. And how are you told this? Through a fairy tale. You know, you're made to believe that it's such an aspirational thing. Yeah. And you go on living your life feeling that this is a wonderful thing. You know, this is a beautiful thing to do. And I think you make certain decisions based on that pressure, which sometimes, you know, screw up your life. And I think you don't know who to blame. You don't know what to say. You don't know who to call out here but yourself. And I think that's really damaging, you know. And for men as well. I mean, for men, there's this constant pressure around that you need to be successful. You need to provide. You need to create an environment in which where you are the prime source of everything. It's invisible, this. Nobody's told us this. Nobody's made us sat down and no school book, no teacher or anyone has made us drill this into us. But societies, the way they look at you, the way people talk to you, the way people nuance things. And this could be brought about by men and women who are carrying this forward, you know. So I think at some point, people will eventually go to what makes them feel better. I believe that, you know. I believe that yes, there may be a certain technology that we will take from a certain country. We may give that, some people may take Ayurveda from it, because it helps them, it makes them feel better. Yeah. So there isn't a fixed way of looking at something. I think as you grow, you discover what are those evils, I call them really, that are invisible. And we use our stories, we use our characters, we use our films to communicate this, you know, because I don't think language has enough text in it, you know, than cinema would.
But, you know, how many of you actually have faced inequalities in life, in professional, personal life, and felt like maybe whatever was happening to you vis-a-vis the other person, regardless of the gender, whether it's opposite or not, you felt like you were not given equal treatment? I want to know. I want to see the hands only, that's all. So few. Can I raise for all of you? There's no shaming.
Yeah. Wow.
There's no shaming. For such few people, I don't know, I feel every day we are put through some kind of social shaming. For the longest time, I have been called names because I'm a little girly. Yeah. Effeminate, that's the word, right? Yeah. तो उसमें कमेंट्स क्या आता है, मतलब कोई भी डांस करो, अच्छा लड़के डांस करो तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हाँ लड़के लड़कियों की तरह जब कोरियोग्राफर सिखाता है वो भी तो लड़की को स्टेप सिखाता है, उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं, क्योंकि वो तो अरे उनमें फिजिकलिटी है, तुम्हारे में थोड़ी सी, तुम क्या थोड़े एफेमिनेसी के वजह से, फेमिनिटी हैज ऑलवेज बीन जज्ड. आई डोंट थिंक पीपल जज सेक्सुअलिटी because half of you don't even know what the other person's sexuality is. But femininity is always judged. A girl who is a little manly will be judged. A guy who is a little girly will be judged. And that is only because of social conditioning. Whether you agree or not, intentionally, unintentionally, आपने भी judge कभी ना कभी किसी को किया ही होगा. Okay, but मुझे लगता है कि एक बहुत पुराना इंटरव्यू देखा मैंने, रिया, you know, of Shahrukh Khan. It's with Farida Jalal. There, at a point when he started off, a lot of people felt that his mannerisms were also a little girly. So she asks him this, and his answer is beautiful. I may not be exactly paraphrasing it. He said that I have always looked at women to be oversensitive and overtly sensible. They are a powerful mix of the two, and they are multitaskers. So if, according to you, I behave like a woman, I take it as pride. Thank you. Recently, at the Jawan media event, when somebody spoke to him, he said the same thing, that मेरे वजह से औरतें अच्छी नहीं लगती. औरतें तभी अच्छी लगती है जब वो जो कैरेक्टर्स लिखते हैं ना औरतों की, वो औरतों की इज्जत करे. Real men are those who know how to respect men and women equally. Now coming to your film. I am okay. I'm pretty sure that you are also okay with people coming and saying, I watched the film, I didn't like or agree with certain things. But to completely shame the intent behind the film, which a lot of people have done. ऐसे कैसी मूवी बना दी, लड़कियां सेक्स के बारे में थोड़ी बात करती है, तो किसके साथ कर रहे हो भाई? नहीं करते क्या बात? Do you feel that this conditioning has become the root cause of issues? Like you've tackled it, but do you really think that more than people, you know, criticizing the film, people were shaming the film?
I feel genuinely we are so uncomfortable seeing women as sexual beings. We just can't take it. We just not comfortable with it. But more than anything else, we need to look around as moms, as fathers, as brothers, as sisters. Where do you think your sister, daughter, friend, girlfriend is getting her information from about sex? Where is she getting it from? Okay, boys still, they start getting into, you know, pornography at a younger age. They talk to each other. There's not as much shame. You know, they can even speak to their older brothers, etc., etc. Our parents, girls to chodo. Your parents don't talk about it. You feel shame within each other until you get to a certain age to talk about it. And all the information you're getting is from American films, American shows and all, and that's not our culture. It's not the conditioning that we were born with, so we don't understand what's right and wrong because it's not part of our world, it's not in our context. So I can't explain to you enough how important it is that we make films where Indian girls can talk about sex. Because it's coming from one Indian girl to another. I understand the guilt that you're going through. You understand the shame that I'm going through. Okay, and if you see the film, you'll understand that yes, there is a plot twist that has to do with sexuality, but the film is about contentment. It's about, you know, this girl, Kanika Kapoor, feels that, you know, I'm a defective piece. There's something wrong with me. Why? Not because of sex, but because she's not getting married. She's not able to fall in love. She's not able to find contentment. So she has assumed there's something wrong with her. Like so many of my incredible friends and sisters assume.
So many of mine.
And so many of yours. So the story is to set yourself free of all this shame, of constantly second guessing yourself, thinking there's something wrong with you. I guarantee you, whichever app you're on, you're not hooking up with a guy, you're not finding the man of your dreams, I guarantee you, the problem is probably not with you. You know? And that is the message of this movie, and I feel more important, now I feel more than ever, after seeing the violent like shaming and outrage from certain people on this film, kaise kar diya, ye kaise baat ho gayi, you know, that I need to make more of them. You know, because I know for a fact with my career graph and the films that we've made, 5-6 years later, 2-3 years later, people come and say, you know, I watched that film and, you know, I watch it with my girlfriends all the time. Every time we have a slumber party, we put on Aisha. Yeah. Every time we do this, every time I feel sad, I see Khoobsurat, you know. I don't know about this or that, but all I can tell you is every time you feel down on yourself, watch Thank You for Coming.
I would like you also to answer the question because, you know, there have been so many films where you have done so many social films. This is also one. But when you have done social films which cater to the conditioning that we are brought up with, then you're Devi. And then the next moment when you do it, then people are judging how could Bhumi even... You've seen the comments, you've seen the outrage. I'm not saying everybody is like that. But if the section of people who are criticizing the movie, it's not criticism. They are actually judgments, and it reeks of really moth-eaten morality.
Well, you know, when we started off this journey with the film and the script came to me, right at that point, there were people that told me, don't do it. Don't do it. You will be shamed. ऐसी पिक्चर क्यों करनी है? किसको पड़ी है फीमेल डिज़ायर, फीमेल ऑर्गेज़म कि औरतें ये चाहती, औरतें वो चाहती, किसी को नहीं पड़ी है. That's the reason I did the film. Because I found representation in the movie. I have done films and I have played like diverse characters in the past where the women that I have played have stood for something strong. They have broken a stereotype. Absolutely, I was getting to that, right? I have done a love stories in the past. And that film was really, really applauded for because it came on a different medium. When it takes a lot of balls and guts to release a film like Thank You for Coming in theaters. Because you know that there will be a section that's suddenly going to go crazy because the film makes them so uncomfortable. You know, and this is not the first time. Even when I did a Badhai Do, there was a large section that had gone like completely berserk. But that's not going to stop me from making the choices that I make. As Rhea said, I am going to do more films that make you uncomfortable because still you are not uncomfortable. We are not going to change. You can't put me to shame. I am done being shamed. I, as a girl who's grown up in the society that I have grown up in, I have been shamed for every choice of mine. And that's why I found representation in this film. You know, as Rhea said, what is the film about? The film is about this single girl who has gone through a series of heartbreaks and she feels there's something wrong with her. She is confused because she's like, okay, I've not even had an orgasm. Maybe that's the problem. There's a lot of childhood baggage that she carries. She is a mess. I am a mess. We all as individuals are imperfect people. And we need acceptance for that. And that's what the film is about. The film is about the fact that my happiness, nobody else can be responsible for my happiness but myself. And the day all of us realize that as individuals, the way we look at life changes. Suddenly, the burden becomes lesser. That's the reason I've done this film, because I have gone through and I've lived the life that Kanika Kapoor has lived. When I started off my career, I was constantly boxed. Ki, arey, no, she needs to lose weight, she needs to lose weight, she needs to lose weight. Then when I've become this, now also they have a problem. You know, when I wore like, I did certain kind of roles where, you know, people are like, no, she can only do like salwar kameez ya sari. That time also they had a problem. Now when I'm not doing that. So the point is कि society तो आपको हमेशा question करेगी. कहीं ना कहीं आपको अपने अंदर वो हिम्मत ढूंढनी पड़ेगी कि बस हो गया. और ये फिल्म उस हिम्मत को पोर्ट्रे करता है. I've gotten a lot. See, honestly, this film has helped me I have found a lot of strength doing this movie. And also sharing space with like 4 other phenomenal women that have had a similar journey. You know, they have also in their own individual points of their life told the world, we don't give a shit. मुझे जो करना मैं करूँगी. मेरी मर्जी है यार, मेरी life है. Who the hell are you to dictate my terms? And that's exactly what's happened with the release as well. Who are you to shame me? On what? And you are people that have not even seen the film. Absolutely. You've not seen the film and you've made a judgment about critique the film. Don't critique our intent behind it. Because you don't understand it.
We all know that. Listen, I have also been really, like, the reason why I said it's personal is because I genuinely, I feel that, यार मतलब अगर आपको मूवी देखनी है, अगर आपको मूवी पसंद नहीं आए, देखने के बाद आपको एक्टिंग पसंद नहीं आए, कुछ भी पसंद नहीं आए, वो बोलो.
बिल्कुल बोलो, भूमि ने घटिया काम किया, उसने it's okay. But आप ये मुझे बोल रहे हो, shame on you कि आपने female orgasm पे फिल्म बनाई. Shame on you, boss. You are regressive. I'm not regressive. What is wrong? This is a physiological. लड़कों में नहीं होता क्या? लड़कों को नहीं होता orgasm? तो लड़कियों को होता है तो उसमें इतना shame क्यों attached है?
No, we also had a movie called made on erectile dysfunction.
हाँ,
right?
which I've done,
Yeah.
which nobody had an issue with. Why? Because Ayushmann had the problem. He was speaking about it. If I did another film with any kind of sexual disorder, there would again be so much shame attached. I've only done that film, no? That time the conversation was so different. Why? Because a boy is leading it. लड़कों को तो होती है यार, लड़कों को हक है desire का, want का, you know, यही तो this it is so warped the way we think, and this happens on various levels. This is not just like anything. Today, if I am questioned on so many levels, you know, she must be with this person because this person is whatever. Like maybe she's gotten this much success because कोई तो होगा ना hero या कोई producer जो उसको push कर रहा है क्यों मैं तुमने, and this is not me. This is like generally if you see the narrative of any successful woman today, you're always trying to snatch her success from her. You never credit it to her completely. Because you'll always feel like, no, there's somebody who is sugar daddying her. What's going on? When do we hear such a narrative about men? Never.
That's true. No, it's and यहाँ पे भी audience मतलब ऐसे बैठी कि जिंदगी में उनके साथ कुछ नहीं हुआ, मतलब sorry guys, but हमको सब पता है. We might not be in your shoes, but I'm sorry, men, women, everybody here, genuinely we've dealt with a lot of shaming for being authentic to what we are. अगर आप एक प्रोटोटाइप को फिट नहीं करते हो जो हमको कहा गया है और हमको समझाया गया है कि हाँ यही नॉर्मल प्रोटोटाइप है, तो आपको आपके खुद के लोग भी शेम करते हैं, which is why so many people are living a life of lies.
Absolutely. And I really feel, more than anything else, it's very important for girls and women today, and men, to attach a positive attitude towards sex. See, when it comes to girls, it's always like, don't wear this, don't go out like that, log kya sochenge, ye mat karo, wo mat karo. So when you get into a relationship, whether it's with your boyfriend, your husband or whatever, you don't know what is the right thing to do, or so you're not able to be free, you're not able to enjoy your partner, you're not able to, because you would genuinely have attached so many negative feelings with it by the time you got there, you don't even realize. Yeah. And in spite of the fact that you have all this baggage, because it seems normal, you don't acknowledge it. So if you then go to have a relationship and you're confused or you feel something's not going right, again, you blame yourself, even though you have no knowledge. It's very important for girls and important for their partners as well, that we have a very positive relationship with this thing that everyone is going to have in their lives. You're going to have it in your life sooner or later. You're going to have a partner, you're going to have a husband, you're going to have a wife, you're going to have something, you're going to have a relationship, you're going to have sexual relationships. It's very, very, very important for your happiness, for your contentment, your partner's contentment, and just in general, I think for the world, that we don't attach these things, these negative things, guilt, shame, lack of self-esteem, judgment, all of these things to our sexual lives, especially for Indian women. Because I know, as an Indian girl who's very protected from a very conservative Punjabi family, you know, now my dad is a proper liberal girl dad. But because of us two girls, he's also evolved and changed, and he's also absorbed so many different things. I mean, he did a special appearance in this movie for me. That itself is shocking. And, you know, but when we were growing up, we were really protected. We were not allowed to sleep over at people's houses, even girls' houses. We were not allowed really to have boyfriends until a certain age. My dad and mom were strict.
थोड़ी छुपे भी नहीं किया.
थोड़ा किया. But I mean, but you can't, na? Boys are scared. They're like, so should I meet your dad? I was like, yeah, you should come to meet my dad. She's like, you know, na, I'm meeting Anil Kapoor. Like, so that's a different experience. But I do feel that even as a girl who grew up so protected, when I actually came into being an adult and when I had to actually wanted to fall in love and wanted to have relationships, my entire perspective, I was so confused. And I was in an American college. And I had learned from American culture, but I was an Indian girl. So what everybody around me was doing, I was not doing. I was by myself, you know, because I knew something was telling me that you're not like them, but I had no information. So when I made this film, thank you for coming, I made it with the specific intent that some 17, 18, 19-year-old Indian girl, Delhi, Bombay, Chandigarh, Dehradun, whatever, wherever she's from, she watches this film, Bangalore, Hyderabad, wherever, Kolkata, that she watches this film and she realizes that There's nothing to feel guilty. There's nothing to feel ashamed. What you're going through is very natural. Every girl goes through it. Every boy goes through it. Because before you know it, tomorrow your sister will be shamed for just being a girl. Your daughter will be shamed for just being a girl. Your daughter won't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Your sister won't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. What do you think is happening? So we all have to come into the fact that these are our lives. And if we don't talk to each other, if we don't tell these stories, someone else will do it for us. And those people don't know us, they don't know our culture, and they don't know our tradition.
Now, जाते जाते फिल्मी तो मैं हूँ, तो मैं यही कहूँगा कि एक मूवी आई थी आने से पहले, मूवी बहुत चली, पर आने से पहले यही सारे शेमिंग हुई थी. एकता कपूर की ही मूवी थी, बिकॉज कुडोज टू एकता बाय द वे फॉर बैकिंग अ फिल्म लाइक दिस, अगेन like a game changer of a woman. It was called The Dirty Picture, and I'm gonna say one line from, two lines actually, कि हमेशा ज़माना मर्दों का रहा है, मर्दों का ज़माना रहा है और औरतों ने आफत मचाई है. एंड दैट्स ट्रू फॉर बोथ ऑफ यू एंड फॉर एकता. एंड फाइनली देखिए, आज आप जो कर रहे हो उसे लोग बगावत कहेंगे, सालों बाद इसी को लोग आज़ादी कहेंगे, एंड उसी आज़ादी के तरफ बढ़ते हैं. एंड थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग एंड थैंक यू फॉर दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन एट द जागरण फिल्म फेस्टिवल.
तू लेके मेरी कॉल लड़के दी कुछ और